Hey everybody, we back again.
We back.
All right. I'm Spencer, and of course we have our licensed clinical therapist, Naz.
Dr. Nas, also been referred as a bald gorilla. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. This is the Different Spectrums podcast, where we talk about movies, shows, and the mental health aspects that surround them. We also like to have some laughs, so don't take us too seriously.
Or do. It's up to you.
There you go. Also, don't forget to run up those likes for us. We'd really appreciate it. So, before we get to our guest, please go check out all of our collaborators. We have Bub's Naturals, Cure Hydration, Pinfinity, Silver Dollar Candle, Two Nerds Candle Company, and Cat and Raven Company. It's a mouthful, but you can go check out our link tree and check out the discounts that are up to 20% off your order. So go check them out. They have some great stuff from all of our collaborators, and we have a variety. So go check them out.
Do it.
Also, don't forget to check out our merch. We got that right there. We got it all over. So go check it out. That's also in the link tree. So, we have a special guest today. She is a therapist and counselor. Please welcome Kristy Skippergosh to the show.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yes, welcome. Welcome. Can't wait to talk. So, yes, you are one
Happy
of us.
to be on the dark side.
Welcome.
Unlimited power. All right.
What is unlimited power to a therapist? Just being able to like mind control?
Sure.
Maybe it's they do what you tell them to do.
There you go. So Jedi mind trick right there.
Yeah.
That's how I see it as.
Yeah. Give me all your money, then leave.
There you go. Yep.
All right, sorry. Don't do that.
Yeah. Okay. So moving on from that joke, today we're going to be talking about a movie, special movie, Jack with Robin Williams. Yes. So good. So good. We're going to be taking a look. We're going to be talking about bullying. We're going to be talking about being different, being accepted, and then also mirroring. So we have plenty of topics to talk about today with our guest. So can't wait to get down to it. Naz, anything before we get into the show?
I think I texted Kristy last night because I was rewatching it, and I just first text, I hate you.
I knew immediately.
Sorry. Most late night texts to our guests are like that.
Yep.
I hate you. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. I was just like, I texted Spencer first, and I was like, I just miss Robin Williams, man.
Yeah.
And then I was already like teared up just thinking about him and the shows that me and Spencer grew up on. And then it just started, and I think I watched this first time in a long time. And it's just a new lens now, with the specialty of autism, new lens. So things hit very close to home. Excited to talk about a few things. There's some joys that we will talk about, some very good joy, and then mirroring and what that looks like, and how many of my clients or students or myself get confused in a few things and just pick up things, some which can be appropriate, some which can be inappropriate. So let's dig in. Let's talk about it. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
She knows.
See?
She listens to the pod. She knows.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I read the
didn't
script
have to read
too.
the script.
You read the script.
did.
Well,
I
let's
did.
just say,
Yeah.
The script. All right, fair enough.
It's the script. You could have just said you listened to the pod, but no.
I did all of
I
it.
studied. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Nerd.
Yeah.
Came prepared. Sorry.
How dare you? Okay, let's do it, folks.
Hey everyone, I wanted to give a special shout out to our collaborator, Two Nerds Candle Company. Not only do they have great products, but they are also giving back to a great cause. You can tell that they take a lot of pride in making their candles. My favorite is Spock's Monday Coffee. They are also donating 10% annually to support women in STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. You can use our code DSP or go to our link tree to get 20% off your entire order. We think that this company is great, and we think you will too. So go check them out.
Jack, your seat's right there in the back. Why don't you go sit down and we'll get started, okay? Okay. All right, everybody, take out your giant book. Your geography book. Turn to page 78. Okay, so what we found out the other day was that the name California was initially used for... Everybody calm down, come on. Was used for what we know today as Baja California. It was first used by Cortez in the 1530s and was found in the journal of Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo in 1542. Victor, eyes up front. Everybody, come on now, calm down. Jack, are you okay? Are you all right, sweetie? Are you sure you don't need my help? Okay, Jack?
I'm okay. Dog always gets him.
Oh man, he's looking at us. I recognize us from the street. He's probably planning on kicking our butts or something.
Oh, don't.
Are you a freak?
No.
Oh, Jane says that you're a freak.
Who's Jane?
I'm Jane, and I think you are a freak. Look at your hairy arms and your eyebrows and...
Yeah, he has receding hairline.
Well, I'm not a freak. Don't, or I'll tell.
How old are you?
I'm 10. How old are you?
I'm 8.
Yeah?
Yeah,
So?
you don't look 10. Look, you got the hairy arms, you got hairy knuckles.
You look a lot older than us.
It looks like you shaved there.
Yeah, I do. So?
A 10-year-old doesn't shave, so then you can't be 10.
Yeah, you can't be 10 if you shave and you have hairy arms and you're tall, really tall, and you're
real.
bigger.
Yeah.
So I'm big for my age.
Look, you have no hair.
I
You
have
ha-
hair. I got hair. See? Look.
Yeah, but look, right here you have no hair. It looks like you're bald.
I'm not bald and I'm not a freak. You're a freak, Four Eyes.
He's 10. A whole 2 years older than us. See?
Oh, sure. Like that explains it. Please.
Don't poke me, I'm telling.
Hey, how about a little help? Throw it over.
Yeah, throw it over.
Wait! I'm not touching that thing. It's been contaminated now that he's touched it. Yeah, I ain't touching it.
Oh
Me
my
neither.
God.
I ain't playing basketball for 3 weeks. Me too. 5 weeks. Goodies.
closer to 10. I'm not in the mood to get my butt kicked today. Well, we got the new kid. What are you, crazy?
Wait, you can't pick him. He can't play with us.
Yeah, I can pick whoever I want. What, are you afraid to lose? No. Pick whoever you want. We never lose.
Yeah, pick whoever you want. We never lose.
Hey, you, big guy. You shoot hoops?
Me?
No, the 40-year-old kid behind you. Hey, you. You play ball?
Yeah. With my dad.
You fried? Hey, at least nobody's gonna slam him. All right, let's do it.
Losers take out, so you take out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you take out.
Come on, just one tip. Hey, I heard there was a
No!
This is a good game, man. Go, man, give me some room. You wanna grab a burger sometime? Now listen, all you gotta do is just stand by the hoop, okay? And I'll feed you the ball like this. Let's do this. Take it to the hole. Right there, butts. Now stand under the hoop. Get your hands up.
Oh my God, you like Godzilla out.
And block up. I'll try. Let's do it. Oh! Come on, get him, Jack! Yes!
You can't stand here.
Move your feet.
Okay, move my feet.
Pez?
Sure, thanks.
Stand here, move my feet.
Jack, get him! Yeah! Hello, McFly. Hello. You gotta block him. Take out. Come on, Jack, block him. Good work. Get him! Go get him! That's right, Mario!
Use the ball.
Losers take out. Defense, 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 defense. Get Jack! Get Jack in the hole, Jack! That's real fair. We're kicking 7 Give me the ball. What you sticking him? Loser takes out.
Losers take out.
Mario! Shut up!
Minimalist. You hear this minimalist joke? You know, that's what he's talking. Supposed to be fun. I'm supposed to laugh or something, you know? Here's one. Nah. This is the joke.
Knock? That's it?
That's it. That's funny. This guy comes in here, he asks for Q-tips.
Q-tips?
We can't even give aspirin. I think he's kidding. Is this a joke? He gets mad at me because I don't have Q-tips. This is no drugstore. What? What do you want?
I'll have Shirley Temple with extra Marciano cherries.
Maraschino.
That's what I said, maraschino.
Get him a Madonna. You know what Madonna is?
No.
Shirley Temple without the cherry. Bring him one of these, will you? I'm Paul. How you doing? How's it hanging?
Okay. My name's Jack.
To Jack. Yeah. There you go, buddy.
To Paulie.
Yeah. Come on, knock it back, will you? Just looking at you, kid.
I'm no kid.
All right. Like that, huh? Let the bugs out of your nose.
Yeah.
So she says to me, I want to spank you now.
Oh, no.
You won't even spank me.
Boy, you must have been a bad boy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Paulie was bad.
Bad? Oh, wow. What did you do?
Well, you know, this led to that, and I ended up going limp.
You hurt your leg.
Yeah. I couldn't get it started. I'm stuck there in my birthday suit, as limp as a wet noodle.
It was your birthday?
Humiliated beyond belief, beyond repair. Wow. That ever happened to you? Huh?
Lots.
Oh, Christ. Oh, man. Oh, that is pity. Well, how can I tell you, man? You married, man, Jack? No.
Yeah.
Not yet. You're a lucky man. Give that up. Yeah, mine threw me out when she found out about my little escapades. She wanted to take me back, but I said no. I said no, because it's time to make a change. Because that's what it's about, isn't it? It's all about change. God. I'll tell you, it is God's cruel trick, Jack. First you start losing your hair.
You start growing on your back.
Back, yeah.
Like that.
Out of your nose. Look at that. And your ears. Yeah. What's that all about? Your eyebrows start growing all out of whack.
Next thing you know, you're walking around like some bald gorilla. Call you a freak.
Before you know it, you're pushing up the daisies in some depressing cemetery. Now there is a sad story for you.
I know her.
Yeah, you do? Yeah. Husband ran out on her and the kids a couple of years back.
Kid.
Haven't seen her since, I guess. Bet you could crack walnuts on her ass, too. Hey, go for it, Big Jack.
Hi, boys.
Hi, Dee Dee.
Oh, Principal Powell. I'm so surprised to see you here. Oh, what a nice surprise. I can't believe it.
Nice to see you. It's nice to see someone I know.
Oh, well, that's a nice thing to say. How you doing? I can't believe you're here.
Me too.
Believe me, that wasn't the first matchbook I ever passed out. Oh, that looks like fun. You want to go dance?
Okay.
Oh. So gallant. You man, you. I like you. You're so different from a lot of the men I know. And you know who else likes you? My Louie. He's a great judge of character. I don't know where he gets it from. Because, of course, he hates everybody that I usually go for. I like a burly guy. Oh, honey. good feeling about you, mister.
What's the matter?
Gotta go.
Why? Why?
You're Louie's mom. I gotta go.
That's what makes it so perfect, honey. I'm Louie's mom, and you're Louie's principal.
Hey, what?
Hey, what?
Whoa, you! It's the second time tonight. What are you, stupid? Oh, whoa, where you going, man? I want an apology.
I'm sorry.
No, that's not gonna be good enough. Sorry.
Oh, I said I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Jeez, what is it with you? What, you totally hyper or something? Too much sugar?
What do you think? You're pretty smart?
Yeah, I do good in everything except social studies.
Studies? How'd you like to study my fists?
Hey, leave him alone, asshole. Come on, Mr. Powell. Let's just
What's
get out
the
of here.
matter, man? You gotta let your girlfriend here stand up for you?
Come on, just let's go.
Your problem is, mister, you got the Zachley disease.
What's that?
It's where your mouth smells exactly like your butt.
Get that from Louis. He always says that. Come on, let's
And
just
you're a loser.
Oh, yeah? Losers say what?
What?
Loser! Yeah! Rubber glue sticks to you. Got him, loser.
doing? This guy's very tough. Stop with this. Let's
I'm a loser, but you're a son of a bitch.
I can't believe you said that. You cussed. Oh, you said the B word. Oh, you're gonna get in so much trouble. You really are.
Trouble? Here's some trouble. Get up. You all right? You okay?
Chloe!
Huh?
Chloe! Don't worry about it. Happens all the time.
Hey everyone, before we get into the show, please check out our collaborator, Bubs Naturals. They sell a variety of health and wellness products, including collagen peptides, MCT oil powder, coffee, apple cider vinegar gummies, and other amazing products. Go to bubsnaturals.com and use our code DSP20 to get 20% off your entire order. And with that, let's get into the show. Let's do this. And we back again.
And we're live. It's live. It's live. Panic. Panic. We is live.
Yep.
It's
over.
All I can think is Hot Pockets. That's the only thing I think of right now.
What does that
Hot
mean?
Pockets. Because we said pockets earlier. I don't know. We're live as a Hot Pockets. We're not that
Okay,
live.
folks. Well, that's the first food
reference
for the show. So
As live as
3
our
more
hopes and
and the
dreams.
show's over.
We're not live at all. All right.
We just
I'm done.
automatically ended. It's like, well, that's it. Sorry. I go.
Well, he
Middle of
tried.
talking. Nope. Done.
I couldn't think. I already wasted it all on the last one.
Oh, I'm glad. Jeez. Okay. All right. So we're moving on now. All right. We're moving on.
Go ahead.
All right. So, like I said before, we have our special guest today, Kristy. Kristy, do you mind going into a little bit of your background, and how did you really get in touch with the show? This is a good question.
What I heard.
Yeah, super fan. That's true. That's true. I'll get into the super fan status for sure. So I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I have my own private practice. It's called Skipper Gosh Therapy and Counseling. I work with teenagers and adults. My kind of niche area is teenagers to like age 25 seems to be my sweet spot with people. Primarily focus on anxiety, depression, lots of life transitions during those, stages of life. I've got a lot of kids right now moving to college. I've got a lot of young adults finishing college and starting in the career world. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And how did you?
How did I find you guys? Well, Naz and I go way back 7 years ago. We worked on our master's degrees together at Grand Valley. And we think we met before group therapy class, but that was where we really became friends.
I don't remember.
He doesn't remember shit.
That doesn't remember.
I was thinking too, I'm like, what class did we have together? Because I was like, I don't remember what classes
we had groups with Professor O.
So that was
and that's where we had to do the group therapy. Yeah, that was a really intense class.
I still use some of the things and techniques that she did in there. I still use them.
Oh yeah, she absolutely shaped my
life.
Like, yes, and my skill set and the way that I approach social work and therapy. Like, she was a huge influence.
We've talked about her on the pod. Spence knows of her, maybe not directly, but he's heard the stories. Question: Did you see me cry in that class, or was it other classes? I don't know.
That class.
That was the
that class because we would all cry. Like, every week, we were always crying.
Bro, she would break students within seconds, Spencer. Seconds.
That is scary. That's a scary power to have right there.
Bro, I remember one day one of our friends in there was pregnant, and she like said something nice to her, and then she just died like mentally and just was like crying instantly. And I was like, whoa, this is going to be an interesting class. Right. I think you're right. That's when we all became very close. Yeah.
It was hard not to.
And that was in the summer.
We got in deep. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I remember it was in the summer.
So I have a question. So for like this class, did you really have to like open up like your own personal lives and kind of share it with each other, just kind of like a support group?
Yeah. Okay. We would take turns being the like group facilitator. And so we would just kind of like rotate in and out. So the topic of the group would just keep going. And yeah, we got into our like real shit.
Oh wow.
It was intense. I did not know that's what the class was going to be like.
Yeah. And who knows if it was actually supposed to be like that, or that's how the professor just made it because that's how they run it. It was a ride. Before that, at the university, a couple years prior to that, you were mandated to actually have counseling in our program for a couple sessions, and then a student sued the department, and then they stopped doing it after the student sued. That's the reason why they stopped mandating everyone do 2 to 3 I think it was like either 1 to 3 sessions you had to do in your program to graduate, and then a student sued, and then they stopped doing that. And then the last like version of it was that class where they did the group therapy.
Did you like having it like that before like the person sued or whatever, or was it something you're kind of like about?
Well, it was already obsolete by the time we got to it, so we was just normal classes.
Gotcha.
I mean, I would have liked it because like it definitely needed some help at that time or support. And I think it's good to learn from having it instead of just doing it. It would have been nice to go through it yourself.
Okay.
Did we have any more classes together or no? I can't remember.
I'm sure we did. I just feel like that one was so memorable because of what it was.
Yep. I know we end up talking and hanging out and being around each other because I know we had multiple conversations throughout the next year and a half.
Yeah.
And I wonder where it started. It was that class. That was intense. I still remember exactly where I sat in that class and watching the professor go up to that girl that was pregnant and then go up to other people and just make them cry. It was intense, Spence. She had a way to speak to you, to like strike to the core beliefs or the core childhood things. And her voice would get so soft. She did a role play where she acted like someone's parent, and then she had the students, they sat back to back. And she was like, what do you want to say to your parent? And then she acted like that parent. And like, I mean, I think everyone was crying. It wasn't.
Well, I was originally the facilitator of that one, and I wasn't like, I didn't know what to do. And she asked if she could step in instead. And I was like, yes, please. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
She stepped in for someone.
Yeah, it was me. Mhm.
Jesus. Fast forward graduation day. I've talked about this on the pod. So we're all on this ceremony, right? And I'm walking across the stage, but my family's in there. Pops are still walking pretty good back then, 2016. And she's on the stage, right? And then she gets up. She don't walk too good. She gets up, stands up. She gives me a big old hug and a big old kiss on the cheek. She gave a few other students a hug as well, right? And it was just a wonderful moment. I had blacked out. And so instead of walking all the way to the end of the stage, I walked right off the middle of the stage, right in the middle of the stage. I just walked off.
You're like, I'm good. I'm just gonna take it from here.
I didn't. It was another at least 30 yards to the other side. Well, at least 10 yards.
I don't need stairs.
I walked literally straight down the stairs into the audience, and then everyone was like, "Nas, are you good?" And I was like, "What are y'all talking about?" Like, everyone thinks you're drunk.
Nah, I just blacked out.
I had
Sounds
parents ask me,
drunk.
like, "Were you drinking before the thing?" I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like, I just walked off stage in the middle of the auditorium. I'm like, oh, okay. That was an intense day for many of us. That many of us have been through a lot of shit. That was an intense day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
did you go ahead?
No, you go
ask
ahead.
the questions.
So, Kristy, you mentioned before we started recording that this movie has a little bit of a deeper meaning for you. Do you mind kind of going into why you picked this film?
Yeah, absolutely. So about 3 months ago now, I lost my dad suddenly. And so I've just been on this kind of like grief journey, trying to muddle my way through, as you do with grief. And part of that has been rewatching a lot of the movies that I watched with him, and Jack was one of them. This was one of our like all-time favorite movies. So when Nas and I were talking about what I wanted to watch, I was like trying to figure something out, and then this was kind of on my mind of, you've got to rewatch this anyway. So I thought about it and thought it might be a pretty good option for the podcast too. So
Yeah, and we appreciate you picking something that's really close to the heart for you. I mean, it's not always an easy thing, but we appreciate it.
You picking, what's your favorite part of the movie? Is it the story arc? Is it the acting? Is it specific scenes? Like, what's your like favorite? There's many favorites, I get it, but what's like probably your like 1A, 1B?
My absolute favorite is one that I think we're going to talk about, is when he finally gets to play basketball with the kids at school. And it's as he's like trying to figure out what to do and how to play, and really like, I don't know, like acclimates to the group, and he does this dance, and I just lose it every time I see that scene. When he starts dancing, the other kids start dancing, and it's just like, it's so Robin Williams too, but it's hysterical.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
It is. The dance is intense.
I think my second one would be the tree house, when they go to the tree house and they're all hanging out there, and they like finally let him up, and he's like trying to like find a spot. He like crashes down.
Yeah, I relate to so many of these scenes, being the big boy and just like, oh, damn, oh, excuse me, and my tush rubbing and this and that, and the hair everywhere, and you're bumping into people.
Everywhere.
Excuse me, mister. And
excuse me, mister.
Excuse me, mister.
Mister?
Yeah, I related to too many of these scenes.
The bald monkey or the bald gorilla. You're just like, yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
A lot of them.
Awesome. Well, kind of starting to get into things here. Before I get into the scenes, I kind of just wanted to ask, how do you bring different defining moments in your life and bring it into therapy with your clients, if you do it all? I mean, you might be one of those people that just kind of leave your, all your shit at the door. That's how people do it. That's fine. But, having a moment like that with your father passing, how do you kind of use that moment and then use it for people that might be going through the same thing as you?
Or kind of like, how do you navigate your life? And then what's it called? Self-disclose. Do you do that? Because not all folks do that, but I found that more folks of color do that. So I just questioned.
Yeah. I definitely self-disclose. I feel like to me, it's a really important part of relating to people. And just, I think it's really important for clients to see us as like, we're just people. We're just people who learned about some things and can teach those things to you. But like, I am like, if you meet me in like regular life somewhere and then you were to see me in therapy, I'm the same person. I talk the same, like I don't have a therapy voice. I talk the same. I say the same things. I match people's energy. And it's one of those things that like I really pride myself on. So yeah, like it was when my dad passed, it was definitely one of those bigger moments where I was like, oh shit, like, what do I, is it just a family emergency that I need to leave for, or do I actually tell them? And so I opted to let them know. And so it's just, I think it's really important to share these things. And, I mean, not obviously there's a line for it.
There's a line, there's a boundary. We get that.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think it's really important just to be real with people. And, when people tell me about things they have going on in their lives, if I've been through something like it, I tell them. And I'll tell people too, like if I'm teaching coping skills to someone, like, this is what I use when I have anxiety. Like, this isn't just something I learned in a textbook that I'm like regurgitating to you. Like, I do this.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And let's get into the movie. So, like I said before, we're doing the movie Jack with Robin Williams. It's about a boy who has this disease that makes him age way faster than anybody else. So he looks like he's a 40-year-old man, but really he's a 10-year-old. And now he's kind of navigating through going to school because I think he was homeschooled by his mom for the most part. And then now he's trying to navigate actually having a social life while looking like he's 40 years old, but in like second grade. A great emotional movie, especially for me, the ending scene always gets me. I'm like, hold it. Okay, good. I'm a man, damn it. I'm a man. But yeah, so the first thing that we see is actually Jack being introduced to the class. And right away, of course, kids are like, what the hell is going on here? You're a little different for a 10-year-old. All right. They started making fun of him, things like that. And he's very shy, of course, because he's a 10-year-old. Yeah. And any 10-year-old would be scared in that situation, of course. But now he has a body of a full-grown man, which makes it a little worse.
Yep.
And then he can't even fit into his desk because it's way too small. And then he falls over, and he breaks the desk. It's terrible stuff.
It's horrific.
But
yep.
It is. But you know what I will say is that the teacher was trying to be as supportive as she can,
awesome.
Which is always awesome, because sometimes teachers will not have your back in that situation, and for some of their students. So it was kind of nice seeing that the teacher, at least he had somebody in his corner, right? So both of you kind of deal with either college level or teenagers, right? And so I'm kind of curious on how you've seen bullying with your clients, and how do you kind of help them with bullying if they are going through it? Kristy, please go first.
Yeah. I don't see it a ton.
Okay.
I do see more of the like trying to figure out how to fit in,
Right.
but I haven't seen a whole lot of bullying specifically.
Okay.
I definitely handle it differently though, from like teens to young adults. Just because they respond differently. With my young adults, it's easier to be like, hey, like, fuck them, move on, go find your people. Like, those aren't your people
Right.
if it's not working out. With my teens though, in high school and stuff, like, that's hard.
Yeah,
right.
There's just that, right. And there's just that like psychological piece where you just want to fit in and you just want to be liked and you know, all of that. So it's a lot harder. I still though push a lot for like, go find your people, go,
Right.
you know, check out other groups, check out other people. I use this for so many things in therapy, but I always say don't suffer for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your friends aren't being nice to you, if they're not treating you well, like, move on.
Yeah. Totally.
Yep.
Totally. Nazir?
I'll answer the question, and then I'm gonna do a backtrack. I'll answer the question first. So many of my clients do get bullied because, right, I see a high population of folks that are on the spectrum, Spence, you know that. And so we're talking about outcasts. We're talking about people with maybe some social deficits that are everything that you see in this movie is what my clients will face without being a 40-year-old man in the class.
Right.
Spence, you know, you've been through it where you're kind of odd and awkward kid in high school and you're just playing by yourself and people are messing with you. I was always the ADHD kid causing shit and stirring up stuff. And then, you know, we moved around a lot, you know, right? Because, you know, financial issues and pops. And I wanted to be with him. So if we move, we move. So I'm really used to moving a lot and being shy and awkward in these classes. But since we moved around so much, I got better at making friends quicker. I learned on how to these people skills and how to engage people and to be a wooer, charismatic, because I had to, because you have to assimilate pretty damn quick. Sports was probably the main reason why I did very well, and my size gave me respect. But how do I work with clients? It's a lot of trauma tied up in it. I was recently working with a good batch of individuals where, you know, they don't have a lot of friends. And, you know, folks like Kristy will say, and I'm not picking at you, but just folks just in general say, go find your people. Well, some of my folks on the spectrum, I'll say that, and they'll go find their people. And then they don't fucking fit in with those people. I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, like the queer community. It just, I mean, I might say stupid shit sometimes, or I don't mean to. So I said, what about all the neurodivergent folks? And yeah, sometimes I don't fit in with them either. But, you know, some of them have at least good partners. But you'll find it where there's a high population of folks that just end up giving up and then just being hermits in their room. So some of it is working their way back up from the trauma of being completely isolated and not even, sometimes it's bullied. Sometimes it's subtle. Sometimes it's dog whistles of things. It's how do we make little baby steps to make new connections? And so it's a step-by-step process of doing trauma therapy and then also building skills to communicate, Spence. You're completely right. You can tell adults to go piss off, tell them to piss. But when you're working with younger clients, it's about fitting in. And it's about assimilating and giving them the tools that way they can feel quote unquote normal. It's difficult. Every client's different, Spence. I mean, I remember trying to fit in so well. You know, I was always ADHD, but when I was trying to fit in, you know, I hung out with a lot of people of color, mostly black folk. but I was never black enough, quote unquote, right? I was never like urban enough. And then when I hanged out with white people, right, I was too urban. And so I never fit in with any of them. And none of the folks of color, I was always, you'll notice with neurodivergent folks, we never really fit in with any crowd that well. Maybe it's the emo kids, maybe it's the anime kids, but you're always just a little skewed. You're always one or two standard deviations away from fitting in from a crowd. Very isolating, very depressing, very suicidality will pick up because you're like, well, fuck it. I must be the worst of the worst. So there's some background on that. If they're lucky enough to get therapy in high school because they have one planted in the high school, middle school, elementary, that's wonderful. By the time they get to college, if there was a lot of bullying, there's a lot of just insecurity, thinking that everyone hates them or dislikes them, and so we have to fight that irrational thought. All right, so there's some of those strings. I want to backtrack real quick. So this will be interesting. Story time. You know, this disease is real. There's many diseases like this where the body will age faster than it's supposed to. Spence, I don't think you know this, or if you did, it was mentioned a long, long time ago, maybe by my father. Salim has this. Yeah, Salim had this, and so everyone knows Salim on the podcast, or he's been on the podcast. So they didn't understand what was going on, and the kid was going through freaking puberty when he was like in elementary, where he was getting hair and stuff like that. Things were going on, so they take him to the University of Michigan. They're like, "Hey, what's going on with my kid?" Then they take him to the hospital. They send him to Mayo Clinic, and then they figured out what was going on at the Mayo Clinic. That's why my dad loves the Mayo Clinic. It's one of the reasons why we took the job in Minnesota was to be closer to Mayo Clinic because of his disease.
Yeah.
Because I was like, people are like, stay in Michigan. I'm like, I'm going to make sure I get my dad cured. If there is one, we're going to Minnesota. Yeah. That's why I went to Minnesota in the first place. But Salim had this version of this. They gave him shots daily to slow his hormones so that he wouldn't, age out. Because he was going to be like a 30-year-old man by the time he was like 10. So it stunted a lot of things, stunted his growth, stunted many other different things. That's why Salim looks very young. That's why he's shorter. I remember him taking the shots. I remember that they wanted him to take a shot for like a year or 2 years daily to help him grow maybe 1 to 2 inches, and he was just wigging out. And then mom and pops were like, no, it's not worth it. What is the point? So I bring attention to this because this is a thing that happens. So some folks are like, oh, this is just funny. It's not Benjamin Button. Like, this is for real. So that's why it hits a little closer to home because of that part, with Salim. And then also I can identify as that weird kid. So when we get to recess, I'll talk more about my stories. But before we get into it, finding a desk that fits is still a struggle to this day. Sitting in that class in elementary and getting my big self in there was not fun. And like you just sitting in there, your stomach's all squished, and you trying to look good for the girls, and you're sweating, and you wearing a hoodie even though it's the middle of summer to hide your stomach rolls and your side rolls. It's interesting times.
There's one ass cheek on the seat, and that's about it.
Yep, and then I'm sweating, so when you stand up, it's just a puddle on the chair. It's intense.
Did it rain?
Yeah, it must rain. I dropped some water.
Sure.
I know I'm even at the university now. Like we went into like one of the, what's it called? The big rooms, the auditoriums. There we go. I'm like, damn, why they got us in here? I can't even fit in this shit. So the next year we did another big like conference in there. And then thankfully it was in a new one where, the chairs are movable. It's still a thing, man. So not fitting in chairs is a thing. The other day when I was at an outreach, sorry to distract us, but there's just too many relations. One of my supervisors brings out a folding chair. She's like, here, someone can sit down on this chair. I said, I'm gonna break this chair. She said, what you mean? I said, I can tell by looking at this. This isn't like weight heavy duty proof.
Yeah.
This isn't heavy duty booty
friendly.
Proof. Yeah, it's not booty friendly. And she's like, have you broken a lot of chairs? I'm like, yes. Last chair I broke was at Colin's dad's house. I sat down in it, and that whole thing just steel chair collapsed. Steel.
I broke my
I've broken sofas. I
Oh
sat
yeah, I've
down.
done that. Yeah, I've done that.
You
It's
broken a
bad.
sofa?
Like all I heard was a crunch. I was like, "Well, that's broken." Yep.
Well, my boy was renting it from Rent a Center, so then he's like, "You paying for that shit?" I said, "The fuck I am." I went and got some screws and screwed the shit out of it.
It's fixed. They're
It's
like,
good
"What
enough.
the fuck is this?"
Yeah. Damn. Tore down. It is what it is. I related to that scene drastically.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I'm gonna let you go
totally.
ahead and take over for the questions, but I just wanted to get out the one thing about Salim and then relating and not fitting in these things
Mm-hmm.
and just being the biggest goofball there is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, and it's so tough, and it's crazy because it's like it feels like even though we talk about so much with mental health, a lot more than we used to, right? Or at least when we were in school. Still feels like even if you try to be yourself, you still get made fun of for trying to be your own person,
Attacked.
right? And it's like, how does that still exist, even though we see all of these examples of people who, either hurt themselves or hurt others because they're outcasts, and yet we still keep on creating these situations in school. It's like no matter what, it just feels like kids and adolescents and things like that they just don't understand how to be different, or they just don't understand that other people can be different.
Are different. Yep.
Yeah. Which I just I don't know. I don't get it.
Go ahead, Kristy.
If I can add, I think another thing that I see a lot, which is also why I push the go find your people, is, and I don't know where it comes from, society, media, whatever, but I think there's this idea that like there's this perfect group that you will feel like you fit in on every level and connect about everything with.
Right.
And that's not true. That's not realistic, but we think that that's what it has to be. And so if it isn't, then I feel like I don't fit. True. And so we're chasing after this thing that doesn't really exist. So that's kind of another thing that I talk about with people is like, it doesn't have to be everything. You can have these other things that group doesn't like.
Yeah.
Find people who are interested in that you can engage, talk about that with, hang out with, do whatever, whatever it is. It can be like various groups, but I think that's another part of it is we think that it has to be this like perfect match on every level.
Yeah. I would like to second that. Because you can have subgroups. And where you show like maybe Spence has his basketball friends, right? And maybe we got our weightlifting friends, you got video game friends, like there's anime friends, right? You can have different pockets of people. It doesn't have to be perfection. And I think you're right. A lot of people look for perfection.
Yeah.
I'm going to chime in here, Spence. I think some of it is I've been both. I've been the bully and I've been bullied. I think I was just ignorant to know that how bad I was hurting people when I would say things or do things. I think I just didn't know. And now that you're older and you can actually contemplate what is going on, you can contemplate how others feel and perceive you. I think you get like this maturity of like, oh my God, like I still cringe about like multiple things. Like, why?
Yeah.
Why would I tease this person about this thing? Why? What did I gain out of that? Oh, a couple knuckleheads laughed. Gross. I remember a couple people being out like in the playground, 5th, 6th grade and just by themselves, just super sad. And it's just a disgusting feeling to know that I even had 10% to do with that. Because I know I had my moments where I felt horrific in different groups. I think we project a lot of things and we replicate and we mirror things and we just think it's acceptable. And I think a lot of neurodivergent folks will pause. A lot of marginalized identities will be the victims of these. Yes. It's a messed up world, man. And don't get twisted. Love kids. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. Right? They're
Yeah.
innocent. They're kind. But also, we can be little shits. Uh yeah. That's just it's weird, man. Whatever's different is seen as bad or funny.
Mm.
And whatever you think is, less human than you, right? As we know of like racism, whatever we dehumanize, then we can use and abuse and do with whatever we want because you're less human. And that's what we
Right.
see different as kids, man. I don't think we know we don't know what we're doing. We don't. At least I didn't. Maybe other people did. I didn't fucking know. I was just, you make fun of people, then other people laugh. So you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sad.
Mhm. And do you think that from either one of you, honestly, you can answer this. Do you think like there should be even more education at like, and what do you think at like what grade level would you think that people should be a little bit more educated when it comes to mental health and things like that? I mean, you don't want to be like second graders telling them like, hey, here's all these cognitive things that you need to know. And they're like, I don't know how to spell yet. I don't know what you're talking about.
I still don't.
But do you think at what point do you think like people should really start getting educated on this topic? Since you've all seen like different age levels and stuff like that.
Well, I think that it actually should started in kindergarten.
No.
Start it with like and I don't know if you've seen this, Spencer, you probably have, but like the pictures of like the faces of emotion.
Oh yeah.
Right. Where like people can kind of choose from there rather than trying to come up with the word. I think we need to start it as early as possible and just start it age appropriate, like teaching kids about their emotions, teaching them that you all have them. It's okay to have them. It's really about what you do with them, and then make it more sophisticated as they become more cognitively sophisticated.
Right.
But I think we do a huge disservice to people. Like the amount of adults that I see who don't have basic understanding of emotions and think that they should just work to get rid of them. And I'm like, no. Like this is just the human experience. But I think it should start right away.
Okay.
Right away.
Yeah, I think a lot needs to be done with the parents. And so I don't even think it needs to be all up to the schools. I think as the more generations get more baptized by this mental health, by what are emotions, what is proper, what is appropriate, what is empathy for other humans. The best way to teach children is you're a good boy. Yes. Do you want to continue being a good boy? Yes. So what does a good boy do? A good boy does this. So for me to good boy, I need to do this. So that's how you get kids to start changing their mind. It's in the therapy books, is showing them what a good boy, good person, good human does. And so if that gets praised, then this is what they'll want to be. But if they see things in the family that's replicated, that's different, right? That goes diverges from that, then they're going to replicate that. I think a change mental health wise probably needs to at least be in the middle schools. At least, I know some elementaries have them as well, but I feel like it needs to be starting at least fifth grade. Some of them have funded, like in Grand Rapids. I know it's funded. I know out in Virginia where Colin's wife works. She's at an elementary, right? So there's social workers starting to be in there.
Right.
But emotional education doesn't need to be down to just the social workers. It's implemented in a lot of these Disney films. I think it's up to a lot of family members to start preaching and practicing these things.
Yeah.
The sad thing is, it's probably going to be the people that are victimized and traumatized by these things are the ones that teach their kids. And the ones that were the bullies probably won't do too much of that. Spencer, what was that one movie where they go, O'Doyle rules? O'Doyle rules.
Oh, that's Billy McGuire.
Billy Madison?
Billy Madison. There it is. I was like, Billy McGuire.
That family ain't doing no emotional education.
No, just a bunch of crazy redheads.
I'm telling you, man. But I think Kristy's right. Not fitting in doesn't matter if you find your people or not. It still sucks.
Yeah.
You know, whether you're on the spectrum, you're queer, you know, if you're an awesome, intelligent woman that's in science or mathematics, right? And then you go see all these dudes. I mean, it's gonna feel weird. You know, I work with a lot of women because they're a majority of my clients. Um, and you know, we're navigating graduate school, we're navigating businesses, we're navigating internships, we're navigating a lot of misogyny. Whether it's, you know, implicit or not, it's there, and it gets intense. And how to handle these things, how to be friendly but not too friendly, how to be aggressive and make your things stated but then also not be quote unquote a bitch. There's a lot of different things to navigate, just as people of color have to navigate. But you know, if you raise your voice, oh, they're gonna lose their shit and murder me. You know, yes. And uh, let's get to the presentation. Sorry.
I'll shoot you, but you know, in the leg. Technically,
Yeah.
it's not attempted murder. So,
Yeah, this is a hold your ground state. So,
oh my god.
but it's a thing. Is not fitting in is like horrific.
Right.
If we're being honest, I don't feel like I fit in most counseling centers. It's different. You know, it's not because it's a lot of women there. It's because I get along with many of the women. It's just different. And because I'm quirky and funny and I can bring things up, and then because I'm a dude, some folks get mad because I can say certain things. And if I don't like represent or affirm folks immediately, then I get seen as like one of them, the bad guys. It's such a fine line that you have to draw almost everywhere. In athletics, it's not like that. With my neurodivergent clients, not like that. I have to walk no lines. Everything is straightforward, to the point. All of us know where we stand.
Yeah.
But, you know, things get political, and everyone's trying to like one up each other. I'm like, fuck you, man. I'm going to do my job, see my clients, and I'm leaving. I said in a meeting the other day, I said, I don't care what happens here. And the psychiatrist just laughs. He's like, same.
And you would think, like, you know, being therapist, like your main goal is to help, you know, your students, clients, and just to make sure, you know, as long as everyone is happy, that's a good job. That should be it. Not all this like political stuff to where it's just like I really have to like fight against people. I have to really tiptoe or walk on eggshells just to make it through the day and stuff like that. It's unfortunate.
The cool thing is actually I didn't feel too good about it, but it's okay. One of my homegirls that's a social worker, she goes, I said, oh, let me put on my work voice. She said, now your work voice is the same as your client in your regular voice. And I was like, oh shit.
Whoops.
So random question, Kristy.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching our show today. We just wanted to take some time to give a special shout out to our collaborator, Cat and Raven Design. They are a small queer-owned business that specializes in LGBTQ plus pride soaps. They have great designs, some that even look good to eat, but don't. You can get 10% off your entire order if you use the code DSP or go to our Linktree. Help support this great small business and help give back to a great community.
You just started your own business, right? And how long have you been doing it for?
A little over a year and a half. I started in, I think I saw my first people on my own in February of 22.
I know you told me a little bit about the old place and there were some financial weird things, but since you've been in this professional world now for multiple years, almost 8 years, how have you gotten along with like coworkers and others? And have you found your people, or is it just a little pocket? How has it been finding your people in the professional world?
Well, it's been an interesting journey. So I started, a lot of my career has been in medical social work. That's where I got all of my hours licensed.
I think
can you guys hear me still?
Yes, I think
my headphone just died.
Yep, it's fine.
So I did a lot of my work in medical social work. And what that often meant was that there weren't a lot of other social workers around me. Like I would be the only one on my unit in a hospital. And that's very othering, being the social worker in a medical setting, because what I found is they have no idea what you do. Ultimately, they think that if there's difficult news, bad news, patients aren't doing what they want them to do, call social work, they will fix it for you. And so it took a lot of pushing back and, you know, finding my other social workers. We would always have lunch together, and that's where we would talk a lot about like what was going on. But that was really hard. And then in private practice now, I think the hard thing is that there's an interesting divide between, I always call it like old school, new school therapy. Like old school is the like therapist is a blank slate. They're nothing other than a therapist. You are not a real human outside of therapy. You share nothing. They know your name and maybe your license number if they looked it up. And then there's like this newer, like where we self-disclose and we're real people and we swear and we match energy and we're not just the like soft and compassionate. And so I find that there's like an interesting, I don't know. Yeah. Like
dynamic
kind of competition. I see it in a lot of the like Facebook groups for therapists that I'm a part of. Like people will post things and others will like rip them apart. And it's scary. Like I'm very cautious of what I post for that reason. Yeah, it's tough to find your like therapy network, your therapist network, because I'm always nervous about how people will respond to like me talking about my style, or when you ask for, you know, consultation and it's like, this is what I've been doing. And people are like, oh, you've been doing that? And I'm like, yes. Like, what do you like? It works. People are getting better. I'm not doing anything wrong.
That's against rule 8654. Don't do it anymore. Don't do it.
We're gonna notify the man. And by the man, I mean the white man.
The white man.
We're gonna send a letter right to him.
Right.
Dear the white man.
Oh shit, I almost passed out. But you're so right. I've been in case conferences where I'm like, I ain't saying shit. Because like my numbers are good, retention's good, like client satisfaction good, like mental health things, numbers are down, meaning like severe things. But like still, when it gets into some of these case conferences, I'm like, I don't even know, man. I'll advise, but I don't need no help. I got it all from my supervisors. I've been trained by like 3-4 people now. You know, and then if I ever need any major help, then I literally will call my old supervisors up and be like, hey, yo, you know, these case conferences these days, I mean, I don't know, man. Because I'll say something and then one of the boss will be like, well, you can't do that. And I'm like, I'm done. Can't talk. So you're right. It's hard to find your people. The age gap, I think me being a different spice, neurospicy, it's a little bit different. Some of my coworkers are neurospicy as well. And, you know, we learn things from each other, and like he will critique me on a few things, but it's all love, because it's, what's it called? It's called in good faith. Anything he says, I have good faith that he means it, you know, for the wellness of me and my clients. I remember, Spence, at my old place, you might have met my supervisor one time. Not Dr. Ruth, but the other one that would come on the weekends, on Saturdays, and then me and you would go hoop. Her name was Ann. And I told her, I was like, so what do I do about meeting my people? Like, I'm scared of like the humans at the next place. So I was like, do I have to like hang out with them and be friends with them? She's like, yeah, you need to like be friends with your coworkers and like talk to them. It's like, but I don't want to do that. She's like, well, you have to, so get over it. And I was like, well, fuck you. I have befriended a few folks, but it's been a few years until I found like some really cool folks that I like and love. I've been working here for 3 years now. I think I only really love and trust 2 people. Which are also neurospicy. So, I mean, there's something in that. Yeah, there's something in that, right? I mean, if all your friends are, it's difficult. So I think I wanted to bring this up because it's related to the show, and we're not 10-year-olds that are listening to this. Everyone on this pod is usually 25 to 45.
Yeah.
A lot of women that are listening, a lot of LGBTQ folks, a lot of neurodivergent folks. So we do this thing because, as Kristy said, try to find your people or your pockets, organizations, clubs. Maybe you can find it on the internet, but it's usually in the workplace that you can find it. There's also a lot of community-based things that you can find. What if I get rejected from them? That's what you're going to say. It's okay. I've been rejected from a lot of people too. Then we go to the next subcategory, like Kristy said. With failure, you will find your people. You will. I promise you. All right, Spence. Take us into the next one. Unless you have a question.
Well, I have a scattered brain, so it goes everywhere. But I actually wanted to ask Kristy, why did you want to be a therapist? And specifically, why'd you want to pick the group that you are currently seeing right now? So,
question.
So I feel like this is always such a funny question because people expect like a certain, I want to help people. And I actually find humans just to be so interesting. Like that's why I think human beings were so fascinating.
yeah, very interesting. Yeah.
And just like the way that we work and operate and navigate the world is so intriguing. And so that's what like got me into studying psychology in the first place. Another piece of it was like I've always been that friend that people talk to, and people have always told me like, the little things, you should be a therapist and you're a good listener and these kinds of things. So I was like, oh yeah, like that sounds interesting to me. I feel very fortunate that I chose it and love it.
Yes.
And then the population was a little bit accidental. I always thought I only wanted to work with adults. Like I didn't take any classes in college for like kids or teenagers because I was like, no, I'm not going to know anything about it. So no one can make me do it. And then I worked at a practice where they were like, you have to see teenagers and you have to run the teenage group. And I was like, well, shit, like this sounds like a nightmare. And I love working with teenagers.
Yeah.
It is a blast. Like you get some where they're difficult for the sake of being difficult and they're trying to be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones that you connect with, it's so much fun. It's such I get so much joy out of my job, out of the people that I work with, out of the populations that I work with. Teenagers make you feel old, make you feel so old. I had a kid recently, you guys. I had a kid ask me if I know who Taylor Swift is.
Oh my God. Taylor Swift at least 35 years old, so I don't understand.
I know, she old as shit too.
She ain't that young. That's not.
Do you know who Taylor Swift is? Motherfucker, that's why no one will ever love you. Oh, I'm sorry. Kristy would never say
Swifties.
Yeah. No, real talk, real quick. Let me cut in here now. One of my students at St. Mary's, she says, Nasir. All cute and stuff. How old are you? I said, how old do you think I am? 35. I was like 27 at the time. I was like, you mother. She's like, you just look so old. I was like, yep. I ain't helping you with shit. Don't ask me for nothing. Nothing.
I want 30% of all your annual earnings. That's it. Yeah. It's done.
I know.
I had a similar situation with one of my teens a few years back who I still see, who will very likely listen to this podcast. And I joke with them about it all the time because it was like so genuine and sweet. But I think I was like 28 or 29 at the time, and they asked how old I was. And I told them, they're like, oh, I thought you're older. I was like, no.
That's so.
They're like, are those your real teeth? Like, why would you ask me this?
Think think? See, this is plaque. See that?
Yeah.
It's real.
Like, I'm not that old, man. And so I am starting to feel older though, in the room, in the office, right? Because I'm getting older, but all my clients are staying the same age, in the university. So like continuously I'm further and further segregated from them, which is fun working with my graduate students because most of them are my age.
Right.
So it's a really fun multiverse I live in at the university level right now, being at Purdue, very young freshman, just starting out, right? Still a minor in the state, and I have to sign paperwork for them. And then you got your grad students that are married with kids and they're more adult than I am.
Right.
I think I was always scared I was scared to work with young kids because of my own trauma history. Like young kids, elementary school. And then I was insecure about working with the older population because I'm like, the fuck do I know? This is a grown ass adult that's like 50 years old.
Probably no more than me. Damn.
And they've been some of my awesomest, sweetest clients, and hard workers. Have written reviews. I didn't start getting older clients till Purdue, and then BetterHelp, I got a good batch. Like, I'm helping people with marriages and stuff. I'm like, I don't fucking know. I mean, if you want to get her attention, punch her in the head. And not a bad way. And like, I meant like a 10-year, like a elementary way. That's how I used to flirt.
Yeah, can't do that as a grown adult. That'll hurt somebody.
No, as a grown adult, anyone listening to this, do not do that.
Please don't. Not all of what Nas says on the podcast is true. Like that.
Yeah, well, as kids, you would nag or tease people, and
yeah, but when you're 35, it's a little different.
Well, I mean, I ain't been doing much dating since, so I'm still old in the game. I look at you like, damn, you ugly.
All right, moving on to the next scene.
Jesus Christ. I must have to take my blood pressure pill because I'm having a ride right now.
It hurts. So, all right. So, in the two scene, or we'll probably make it one, but in the scene where Jack, he's on the playground, right? Yep. So he's on the playground for the first time, and he's kind of sitting by himself. And then he gets approached by like these two little girls, just being like, I heard you're a freak. And they poke him with a stick. Like, these kids are cruel.
Seriously.
Kids are cruel. That's so bad. And then they just keep on asking him questions, and then they're like, oh yeah, he's a 10-year-old. I can see that. The way his responses are, he's 2 years older. He's a 10-year-old. I sense it. I got it. And then of course there's that scene where the basketball gets thrown his way and he touches it, and then the other kids are like, oh, I'm not gonna play basketball anymore. He touched it. It could be contagious or whatever. Very, very sad scene in that sense, that part. Like, at least with like the little girls, it was like a little playful and everything, while with the boys it was just like just cruel. Just cruel. Yes. But then kind of fast forwarding, Jack, he actually gets to play basketball, and at first he has no idea what he's doing. He's like, put your hand. He takes everything so literal. Just put your hands up. That's his hands up. He's waiting, and then they score on him. He's like, what are you doing? Move your feet. And he just starts pitter-pattering his feet. And then he kind of gets used to everything, and then he blocks the ball. Then he gets it. Then he scores. Such a great scene. And then the teacher, of course, is just like rooting him on, like discreetly. Discreetly, but not discreetly, right? She's like, yes. And then now he's finally getting accepted, even for like the tiniest moment, right? And sometimes for kids especially, it's like it's just that one little moment to really get you accepted. And I'm not even gonna say just kids, because adults do the same thing. They do the same thing, where it's like you may be an outcast right now, like say you're new to a job or something like that. Then you do a task or something, and then they finally accept you and are like, hey, you can sit with us at the lunch table. I'm like, y'all stink. I don't want to do that. So I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate it. But doing my own thing. But yeah. So Kristy, you said you really like this scene. Can you kind of say why you really like this scene?
Yeah, I often, and I guess I've never realized it until we were talking about it now, I talk to people a lot about when they are navigating like new places, new people, new groups, how to fit in. If an opportunity is presented to you, take it. If they invite you to lunch, if they invite you to go to happy hour, if they invite you to go do something, go do it. Do not say no. Don't let your anxiety get in the way. Don't let insecurity, just go. Mm-hmm. And I think this is such a great example of that, but also just that, like, it's so beautiful to watch. Like, you know, there's that early recess where they call him a freak and they say he has cooties and all of these things. And like, he is just a regular kid. Like, give people a chance, let them come in and see how it goes. And they have so much fun with him, and just watching like the joy that he has when he starts dancing. This is his first time like having a group of friends.
Yeah.
You forget that part. It's his first time having friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to have that human experience. Kristy, serious question. Legit serious, not a joke.
Yeah.
Spence knows when I say serious, it's usually not serious. Have you ever danced wildly and like goofy like that?
Oh, for sure.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember when and how long ago?
I've done it in teen group before.
Yes. Awesome theory.
I've done it like on my own before.
Oh, yeah.
And I have this like vague memory. I can't remember the context or who was even there. Maybe it was just a dream. I don't know. But I feel like I've done it with friends before. But again, I don't remember where. But yeah, I've definitely done it in teen group. I used to make a fool of myself all the time when I ran teen group, just to get everyone else comfortable. And
someone's got to do it first. So it's going to be the therapist.
I'm happy to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
To do it.
Laughing at you is the same as laughing with you when you're doing your job. So I'm gonna ask a question, then Spence, we'll get back to you in the clips. What about you, Kristy? So I'm asking you questions, but so others can learn from you, and you're role modeling what others maybe can do in their own lives. Where do you feel like the most comfortable, the most unchained to be authentically you? Like no one's watching. So you say that you're authentic, which is true. But there's a difference between that and just be like in your own zone, doing your own thing. For me, it would be specifically, I could be in the gym by myself, zoned out. But as long as I got my music in, I shut my eyes, I'm in a different planet. And I'll be kicking and jiving and doing my thing. And, or I'll be hella emotional and I'll just let the waterworks go and I'm crying. It's people would think, it's in your room or this or that where you're alone. No, not always. For me, it's usually with music at the gym. You will never catch me dancing unless I am completely inebriated or at the gym. At the gym, I'm like, hey, I'm like doing a Dougie in the John Wall.
The Dougie.
Yeah. But you catch me at a pub, I ain't doing shit. Yeah, just hold my drink and just stay in my box like Unhitched. Stay in my box. So where do you feel the most unbothered by humanity?
I have a few people in my life. I would say now 3 in particular. My 4th one would have been my dad. It's my youngest brother, my current partner, and then one of my best friends from college. And those 3 people, like I can let my freak flag fly freely in front of them. And like I'm a super weird person, and I treasure this about myself. I'm so quirky. And those are the people, like when I am around them, it just comes out. Like
Okay.
I'm always with my brother. I'm always doing like weird kung fu, like I have no training in anything. Like I'm always karate chopping at him, making weird noises, doing weird things. So it's like certain people in my life just bring this side out of me.
That's fair.
Yeah, all the time.
She's just a
That's
Ninja
awesome.
Turtle at night. Like, get her a pizza, straight up Ninja Turtle.
It's my alter ego.
Yeah, what were the gremlins? You feed them water and they turn into like little monsters? Was
You
that
don't
what it
feed
was?
them water if they just get water on them.
Oh, water on them, whatever. For her, it's
You don't
her
feed
friends.
them water.
Feed them water? Well, I don't know what the fuck they did.
Eat them from your hands.
Yeah.
Drink this. Be a gremlin.
Sorry. Okay. Well, I know if you ever thought that you were comfortable with me, which is true, I've seen you be comfortable with me, then you got to be weird because the only people that like me are other weird people. Facts. Like no one like normal likes me. Yeah, Spencer's like.
Now I know about Spencer.
Oh, I'm a weirdo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I've met any people that like me and they're like super strict and like uptight and they just it's not a thing.
Nope.
So that's something to realize. So your clients are lucky then because you like me, and thus if you like me, then they like you.
How did you turn that into a you thing? How did you do that?
Because I'm the person.
I'm the doctor.
I'm God. I'm sorry. Okay, Spencer, take over.
I don't know where to go from there, but okay.
I think it was my turn actually to therapize, but I've been talking too long.
All right. Well, I would say what is gosh, I don't even know now. I'm lost. You got me lost, son of a gun. Son of a gun. You can take over. You
Okay,
can take over.
I can go over. We just talked about all the bullying stuff, so we don't need to rehash it. But like you're right, this scene where the girls pick on him and they call him a freak is tough. When they point out his differences, his hair, his size, him shaving, tough. You're literally confirming probably all your worst fears in that moment. So if someone has any body dysmorphia issues, issues with their weight, their skin tone, their hair, ears, nose, it doesn't matter. Clothing, because maybe you're poor or whatever. They confirmed all of it. And then he feels even worse and then hides in his little tube shortly after that. Sad. When people confirm your worst fear, sad. Like me, like grew up with a lot of acne and people like, damn, what's wrong with your face? I'm like, well, I feel like dying. Appreciate you pointing that out. Okay. Yeah. So tough. The cooties thing was tough. That was probably one of the sadder moments in the movie. The basketball scenes. I relate to so many of those scenes. And just being big and trying to like chest bump someone and they just fall down. I remember doing that in football. I'm like, get your little ass up. Like, eat something, boy. Damn.
He's like, I'm 15. I don't know what to eat. I really don't. I
look like
eat McDonald's. I don't
know. I relate to a lot of those. I feel like it was funny thinking about Salim and playing basketball with him at St. Mary's or other place. I'm like, Salim, keep your hands up. I'm like, bro, you got to go towards the ball.
Yeah.
And he would just stand there. I'm like, if you want to defend someone, you have to go towards the ball. And then he tried to like tackle you. And like,
yeah, I know. It was.
He would just put his head down and like kind of like hug you.
He literally was football tackling people on a basketball court.
It was the cutest thing.
It was amazing.
It was. So I thought about Salim and trying to teach a lot of other neurodivergent folks like how to play basketball, how to be athletic. Mobility amongst some folks on the spectrum is not good. There's a lot of things with laxed ligaments and tendons. So there's some issues. There's some strength and coordination issues that are there. And then you've got other folks that are like professional athletes, Olympic athletes, power lifters, like some of my clients, like legit Olympic power lifters. It just depends. Again, it's the spectrum. But I thought about the lack of coordination when watching this. and then also the just extreme joy. So obviously today we're talking a lot more about autism compared to some of the other pods because this film relates so much to it.
Right.
Like every aspect relates to it, but that's also because children are a little bit, they're not as developed in that age range, so things are taken more literally, more black and white, and so that's why he responds with a lot of hands in the air, straight up, move your feet. Pause. When he says move your feet and he says it under his breath multiple times, it also reminds me of echolalia, what we talked about with folks on the spectrum. But transition back to Mrs. Doubtfire, it reminds me of the scene when he's in the kitchen. I need a face. I need a face. I need a face. I need a face. It's the same mannerisms. And so, Robin Williams, sad story. He took his own life at the end there. A lot of mental health issues, alcoholism, but at the end it was this disease that he had that was like different than dementia, but kind of like it. And then he took his own life because some of the things were saying that he just couldn't live with it anymore. He no longer was himself. He no longer could be funny. That was some of the things that were coming out. I just miss him so much in his mannerisms. Me and Dad were just talking about it.
Yeah.
Faces. And his stand-up comedy wasn't even as nasty or vulgar or in some versions, sexualized as others. And yet it was the funniest shit you've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like, how?
His imitating was just so good. He was so good at imitating. Not a lot of people can do that, especially like some people can, but he had such a range of imitating that like I wish I could have that because I love imitating. I love doing it. But
ain't no way he was an autistic kid. There's no way. There's no way. With his ability to connect with folks, his ability to mirror folks and replicate what they do, some of the alcohol issues, depression issues, it's just no way. ADHD is shit too. But so I just wanted to say, it's a big loss for a lot of us that grew up on him. I know we did Mrs. Doubtfire together, and I went and looked up his filmography, and I'm like, there's some other shit we got to get to.
Yeah, a lot of great films. Flubber.
We
one
said
of my
we were going to
favorites.
get to it. We got to get to it.
I know we have to do it at some point. At some point we will.
Kristy, do you have any like Robin Williams things, or was he not like one of your guys?
He definitely was. I feel like Jack, Flubber, Mrs. Doubtfire were huge.
Yeah.
I remember watching Patch Adams a handful of times, but that one was, and I could be misremembering it because I haven't seen it in probably over 20 years. But it was more serious than funny.
Yeah, because he was just like a clown, kind of talking to like dying kids.
Yeah,
and you're like, this is not the same. Even though like the other films did have adult themes, even though they were kind of more towards children, they had adult themes. But that one was just totally
different.
Adult.
Yeah, he was.
That was such a drama.
But wasn't a doctor, but he was helping him out. It was intense.
Yeah.
Question. What are the other films that you've been trying to go through that you and your dad was watching? Because if it's this one of them, then they must be correlated to other ones like this, but maybe not. I don't know.
One of the other ones is Secondhand Lion.
I have no idea.
It's a good one. It's a really good one. Do you want me to describe it?
Go ahead.
It's about this little boy. He's probably around the same age, like 10, 12-ish, and his mom's a single mom. It takes place, I don't know, probably in like the 60s-ish. And the mom's essentially like, she's just trying to find herself a husband. So she dumps the kid at her two uncles' house. And there's this like rumor around town that these uncles have millions. So they're just these grumpy old guys. She dumps him there, and he ends up like creating this relationship and learns about the money and their life story. And so it's a really good one.
Okay.
It's a really good one.
Give us a couple more real quick. I'm intrigued.
I've been watching the Indiana Jones movies. Those were ones that I watched with my dad.
Those are great. Any specific one though that kind of stood out?
So not really. It's kind of funny. I've been watching them on Disney Plus from start to finish. A lot of these movies I've seen a million times, but they were like being played on TV.
Oh yeah.
So I haven't seen them truly from start to finish. So the Indiana Jones movies, they all just blend together as one. The original three.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't know like which ones are which, like which scenes come from which movies.
The Boulder one is the first one.
Yeah.
The Kali Ma one where he reaches into a dude's chest and like takes out his heart. That's the second one. And then the third one is just pretty much Nazis and what's his name? Sean. What's his name? Oh my gosh, the dad. I forgot his name. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Forget. What was his name? He was James Bond. Oh my gosh, forget his name. Yeah. So that was the third one.
Okay.
That's how I remember him. I'm like Sean Connery, dad, third one. Got it.
I asked this because I was thinking, what would be the movies that we would watch with our parents? You know, what are the movies that make us think of our parents? You know, suspense. Like if you and mom's, and years later you wanted to think about things. Like I'm trying to think. I'm therapizing ourselves. That's why I asked you. I've done a couple questions like this to Kristy today.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I have.
My mom absolutely loves the movie Crazy Rich Asians. She will watch that on repeat, like over and over. I'm like, how are you watching this again? Like, it's like the third time this week. What are you doing? That one, she does not like cartoons at all. So she would never watch any cartoons. Yeah, she loved The Wizard of Oz too. Okay. Absolutely loves Wizard of Oz.
I have no idea what Pops would even be. I have music.
Have y'all watched the movie together? And we're like, this is it.
We do watch movies together, but it's more music.
Oh.
It's more music.
What songs would you play them?
We've talked about it before on the pod, but it would be the one that's when we were in the old beat up truck. So it would be the Santana cassette tape that was stuck that he had in prison, and after that he had a Sade one that he enjoyed. He loved Queen as well, and so any type of classic rock. But the Santana would be on repeat all the time, and then Pink Floyd would be on there too. So it just depends. So certain songs remind me of him and more than movies. I'm gonna have to ask him, like, what movie would it be? I have no idea. He's not a replay movie guy. That's not his thing.
No.
What about shows? Because I know when I was a kid growing up, we used to watch the Three Stooges. It would come on like Saturday mornings, and my dad and I would eat breakfast and watch Three Stooges.
That was the shit. Me and Salim loved it too. So shows there's a ton of shows that he wants me to watch all the time. They're usually like more mystery crime ones. He likes a lot of the Showtime ones, like the guy from Billions, the redheaded dude. He was in a different show too, where he was like either a killer or he was. Yeah, there's multiple shows that he enjoys. Sopranos. Yep, I remember I bought him the DVD like box set of that. That was for like $100. You know, now it's free. Yeah, so it shows. There you go. Thank you. You gave me something there. It would be shows in which I would be remembered by him. Oh, movies. It would be The Godfather. 100%. Oh, there it is. I got it. Go. He uses so many quotes and teaches me so many things from that fucking thing. He'd be like, remember, the person that comes to you is the traitor. Remember. I'm like, what the? Who's coming to me?
Why?
Remember.
You broke my heart, Fredo.
Yeah.
You broke my heart.
It would be the Godfather series, 100%. 100%.
That's a good one. There you go. Nice.
There you go. All right. For me, I know both of us got a lot of funny stuff in which our loved ones will remember us by too.
Yeah.
Interesting to think about. Spence, any more seasoning you want to put on this scene? Other than just the pure joy that we talked about and some of the bullying?
No, I think that's good. But I mean, like Kristy said, like, yeah, I mean, for even those adults that, might feel like outcasts, always, always keep it up. Don't try to isolate yourself. Because then you're going to feel worse, and then you're really going to have more self-doubt in yourself.
You'll dig in.
I would say just keep on trying to stay positive, and that's a hard thing to do, for a lot of people, but keep on staying positive, and you'll find your niche, and you'll find the people that actually want to get to know you and see how special you are. So yeah,
he's so lucky because in the next scene or two, he hermits, and then all of the friends show up and can Jack come out and play? And I'm like,
Jack's
mother. She's like, you sons of I'm surprised she didn't spray him with a hose.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. That was
Don't you talk to my son again.
Thing. We shit on kids today. At the end of the day, they're also full of love and joy. And so that was the reciprocal of it. It was them coming together.
It's a curiosity.
Let's do the next scene, which is very impactful for our community, Spence.
Yes. So Jack decides to go to a bar, right? Goes to a bar. And he starts drinking, and he actually talks with a man with a nice set of hair on him. Nice set of hair. Actually, that guy, he was in the show Better Call Saul, right? Okay. And he is actually the brother of Bob Odenkirk's character, and great actor. But yeah, they start drinking, and he's like, I will have a Shirley Temple with extra what does he say?
Americano
cherries. Which I was like, that's my kind of drink right there.
Yeah, because I know. So I've seen Spencer order that with me.
Yeah, because I don't drink, so I'm like, I need a special, I need a little Sprite with a little something on it.
I've also think I've seen you like get like an extra side of cherries. Like I feel like you've done that.
I have not. That is a lie. That is a straight lie. All right.
I've seen it.
I don't go for the cherries. All right. I just want a little bit of pink in there. Just a little bit.
Was it a steak?
I want a kitty cocktail. That's it.
It is. Whatever.
I've ordered that multiple times at bars, and I'm just like, what are you gonna do? So then he gets drunk, and then all of a sudden, one of the kids' moms walks in, and she thinks that Jack is the principal of the school, which he is definitely not, obviously. So, and then kind of starts talking to her, and I'm like, damn, 10-year-old gets asked out a woman faster than I can. That's impressive. Very impressive. All right. Feel a little bad about myself, but thank you. Thank you. And then they start dancing, and then he starts to mimic a guy that he's watching dance, because he obviously doesn't know girls, but he's also drunk 10-year-olds, so that's good. And then he starts mimicking a guy, which starts dancing like him, just doing this move to a song that was in Goodfellas. I'm like, that's a terrible song to do this move to.
Yeah,
that's all right. And then he gets into a fight with one of the guys there. And then just a brawl ensues. Just a complete brawl. So Jack brings chaos to wherever he goes. Just brings chaos.
Yep, he's toxic.
So toxic. My gosh, a 10-year-old is so toxic.
Toxic masculinity.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, let's, we're gonna be talking about masking here. So, and just kind of how we mirror people. So have any of you actually done any type of mirroring that you can think of? I'm actually kind of curious.
I guarantee you, when you first started your career.
Hey, this is your co-host Spencer, and I'm bringing you a special message from our collaborator, Silver Dollar Candles. They have great scents to go with great messages, just like Best Dad Ever, True Crime and Chill, And my personal favorite, when this candle is lit, give me that. You can also make your own candle and message that fits you. So go use our link in our link tree to get your order placed with silver dollar candles today. Hey, are you a nerd? Do you like pins? If you're like any of our followers and you said yes, you should check out our collaboration with Pinfinity. They have Power Rangers pins, Transformers pins, and for all of our bronies out there, My Little Pony pins. Go check out our link tree or use our code DSP to get 20% off your Pinfinity order today.
I guarantee you when you first started your career.
That's what I was thinking. Like probably when I first started my like being a therapist after going through like training time of watching how people, you know, my supervisors, how they'd sit in the room and what their body language was and how they would do things, trying to kind of like mimic that to like present as the therapist. Those are the early times. Now I don't care.
No, I don't care. I'm seasoned.
Like this is what it is. Yeah. This is what I do.
When did you kind of realize though that you're mirroring, that you didn't want to do that anymore? That you were like, I can do my own thing. I don't need to do this mirroring stuff anymore.
A little bit of it was taught. Before starting my own practice, I was doing dialectical behavioral therapy, and there's a component of that kind of requires the therapist to be authentic. So I kind of, some of it had to be learned a little bit because I didn't really know what to do or like where the line was, what that looked like. And a lot of it was like, as I got to know clients more, and some of my clients who it felt like it would work better with, I started to open up more and more. And then I think especially in the transition to on my own, I was like, I'm doing what I want. Like, this is my practice. I am doing this my way. And so now it's guns blazing all the time. My poor clients.
I just saw like Wile E. Coyote. Bang, bang, bang.
Yo, varmints.
Yeah.
That's probably what I look like.
Oh, I just remembered something. When he jumps into bed with them and he has Stimpy. And I just saw Stimpy at Target the other day. I was like, fuck, I should have bought it. Besides, random thing. I'm sorry, random.
Only you could have like a flashback to like going to Target. I didn't buy this stuffed animal.
Oh, well, Heather made fun of me, and so I should have got it. Even Colin wanted it. I should have fucking bought it. She's like, "You're not giving that to our baby." It's like, God damn it.
I want it for me. What are you talking about? Your baby.
So Kristy, do you mind divulging like what age you are?
Yeah, I'm 32.
So 32, and you just started your practice about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, correct? So we're thinking like, 31, that's when full autonomy is risen.
Yeah.
So how in the hell are we going to expect all these other kids that we're talking to be fully autonomous and to be fully authentic and all that? Well, we're not even reaching it until we're years and years into our profession. I mean, I didn't reach mine probably until I fully realized that I was neurodivergent. So we're talking like, 2019. That's why I'm like fully me. And I feel weird at times in certain spaces, and I mask and mirror at certain times. But with clients, story. Yesterday, I'm going to do this outreach with my Latino students right at the Latin Cultural Center, and the director of the hospital comes in. The director of PUSH Student Health Hospital, Black woman, awesome, from Kenya, wonderful, nicest human you ever meet. And she said, well, maybe I'll go to yours. And I said, well, you can't come to mine. She said, well, why not? I said, because, then I won't be able to swear. She said, you're not swearing in this anyways, right? Right.
Yes.
I was like, Brenda, you can leave. Like, I'll take care of everything. Brenda, you can leave. You don't need to be here. I got it all for the counseling center, and I'll give away all your stuff for the health center. She's like, okay. It's like, please go. Please, for God, for the sweet Lord baby Jesus, 9-year-old, still in a diaper Jesus, take your ass home. Ended up being a ride. I ended up getting to swear, do my thing, show a YouTube video. I showed the YouTube video on Martin Luther King that we just did a podcast on. And it was quite wonderful, magnificent. I get to be full me. I get to say that I'm on the spectrum. It's just magnificent. I get to pace back and forth. I get to do whatever I want. I think I started to be unchained as my boss was teaching me and guiding me. So, 2016, 2017, the supervisor that I had at Aquinas, remember my internship, when I had gotten kicked out of the one, they tried to kick me out of the social work program that me and Kristy were in, actually. And then they placed me in this other one, and they were allowing me to be me. I don't think I got fully comfortable till 2019. 2019. Earlier, Spencer asked you a question like, how do you know what you wanted to do? So you kind of fell into this. You fell into your clients, right? You just were interested by humans. But your intrigue might shift, and you might go into a different thing in a couple of years, right? You might go into teaching. Maybe you'll let go of this and just do supervision. Like, who knows what you'll do? You might quit completely and just travel the world. Fucking knows. With me, it shifted from students of color to maybe, I'll do athletes and students of color. Then it was like, maybe I'll just be all neurodivergent clients. And then I'm just going to stay in higher ed and move up the chain. Now it's like nonprofit maybe, and open up my own facility and hire folks. I don't think we ever fully know what we're going to do for the rest of your life. And I don't think that you need to know what the hell you're going to do for the rest of your life. And you sure as hell shouldn't compare yourself to someone else and what they're doing. Because they're not you, and they don't come with your stuff and your baggage, your intelligence, whatever. They don't come with it. So you should only be trying to do best for yourself and replicate it from yourself. Okay, I'm getting that out of the way now. So mirroring. This is a thing that us on the spectrum do. This is a thing that everyone technically does. Everyone is doing some type of assimilation, whether they're conscious of it or not. Folks on the spectrum are doing it so much to cope that they're becoming burned out and fatigued, and then they can't handle certain things, and then they need to go hibernate like I do, or like Spence does, right? You can only take so many people. And you'd be like, now everyone does that. Yes, but mentally, it's taxing more on others that are neurodivergent. So this mirroring thing, that's why a lot of us are good at replicating folks and mimicking folks and putting on like this show, and like Spence can do imitations. Spence's imitations, so fucking good sometimes. I don't even know which one to ask you to do. I know you.
I don't know either. Sometimes I can't even do them on the
scares the
spot.
shit out of me. The Schmiegel one scares the shit out of me. Any of his Star Wars ones are good. They're all good. So us being able to imitate is part of our mirroring, our process.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a mirroring which comes to our mirroring neurons. So some of us are more emotional than others. So as Kristy knows, I'm a crier. But certain things hit certain emotional strings with me, and I thought I was like weird or fucked up. My boss was like, "Oh no, you got a lot of mirroring neurons." I was like, "What's that?" So he's like, "Well, when people like have emotions or like there's music in the background, it pulls at your heartstrings, and you'll literally feel what they feel." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's a thing." There is, now don't take this sideways, anyone. We've talked about it before. The TV show Hannibal, where the main detective, definitely autistic, figures out all of these murders that happen based off of just cognitive empathy. Like, what the hell? I'm like, that's what I got. All right. So I'm gonna do a little psychoeducation. So the mirroring that he does, Spence, you see it. He does the dance. He does the shoulder, like the pop, right? He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Then he's like, sees the guy grabbing her tush. He doesn't even know what the hell that means or what that's gonna lead to. So then he does that. She's like, oh, and then she tries to kiss him, and he kisses back. And then she does the tongue thing, and I think that grossed him out.
Probably.
And then also his buddy's mom.
True. Yeah, he's like, wait a minute, this ain't right.
I don't think he would have went any further, even if it wasn't his buddy's mom, because that was just like intense.
Well, and he doesn't know what further is, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't know. It's 10.
The mirroring in that moment, him trying to simulate in the bar and talking to the guy, he's like, "Oh, you got spanked? You must have been a bad boy." I'm like, he's like,
it's like, yes, I was.
Yes, I was. He's like, "You went limp." He's like, you ever go limp? He's like, all the time.
It's actually a problem.
Yeah,
I'm seeing a doctor for it. Really? Because I gotta get my checked
I,
out.
as a therapist, I would have been like, "Are you on antidepressants?"
Yes, sir, I am.
I am. Well, makes sense. The mirroring that is going on there. Oh, here's another good explanation. When he says you got exactly,
Yeah.
and your mouth smells exactly like your butt. Again, she's like, I think my son says that. Why would you?
Yeah.
The losers say what? I've been saying that for so long in my life. Loser, huh? And then you've heard me say it to you a million times.
Yeah. Then I immediately go, just fuck off. All right.
So these things, I'm technically mirroring it, but now it's just a repetitive thing that's in my brain.
Oh yeah.
I've seen folks that'll mirror things for ages, such as ticks. So if person sees a certain tick, trichotillomania when they're pulling out hair, or maybe some type of Tourette, or maybe spitting, those things will be mirrored and then they'll be implemented into that other person's like mannerisms. I happen to do that with a few different things. I'll pick up something and then I'll mirror it and then it's part of me now.
I must do this.
So mirroring can also be seen for other folks as a sign of admiration. So now I'm going to kick it back to Kristy. In your practice, what have you stolen from other therapists, clients, or friends that you do to help people? So you said Professor Owens was an influence. I'm sure that you took something from her. I like to say stole because it sounds funner, but technically you're mirroring.
One of the things, I feel like I probably did get this initially from Professor O, but I think I use this a lot, especially with my younger people, my teenagers, is I will mirror their energy. Like if they come in hype and they're like, Kristy, I've got something to tell you about, like you'll never believe these things. I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, what are we going to talk about? Should I get some popcorn for this? Like I will mirror that energy to like keep it going because they're excited about something. Or if they are like quieter, then I will do that too. But I find especially with teenagers, it works really well. Like if you're hype about the things that they're hype about, they're into it. They're ready. Like they're ready to tell you what's going on.
Wonderful. Any other things that you've implemented from like other friends or therapists or life lessons that you've implemented and mirrored, or maybe even movies or shows? Because I steal a lot of stuff from shows. Most of the jokes that I have, none of them are original. I'm not even being joking. Like they're mostly replicated from other people.
Stealing. That's what they call that.
We call it copyright.
Stealing. I definitely stole humor in therapy from a therapist and good friend that I used to work with. We ran an adult DBT group together.
Okay.
And she's Russian and has this like really dry sense of humor. And immediately, like my first day meeting the team, she was teasing me, and then in group too. And so I like latched onto it because it resonated so well with me. And I was like, oh, we can be funny with clients. Like we can actually say stupid stuff and like obviously in an ethical way, but like poke fun at them too. And people actually enjoy it. And so I use that all the time, especially sarcasm. All the time.
That's the way. Knock, knock. Vodka. Vodka who? I want a vodka. Nothing.
What's terrible?
That was a dry.
It's such a dry ass humor. I love that you've been implementing humor. So I also love that she's been nagging her clients. I remember I got in so much trouble at the university I used to be at because I was like, yeah, like I'll tear them down and then build them back up. And like there was like a legit meeting like a few days later. I said it to a coworker and she's like, Nazir, that's inappropriate to do that. And I was like, for one, I was joking. And I'm not actually like berating them and like making them completely insecure. I was talking about making a few subtle jokes here and there and like laughing. It was a joke. I got in trouble by she ended up being such a stool pigeon. My other coworker was horrific. I'm like, at least I'm not drunk at the job, Becky.
Damn. Jesus Christ.
Oh, fucking hated that place.
You don't smell like tequila at 8 a.m.
Yeah. At least I'm not carrying you to your
jeez.
fucking car.
What? All right.
Comedy. I love teasing certain students.
Yes.
There's some specific ones, especially your anxious laughers. I love messing with them a little bit because I'm like, we have to bring through the anxiety of you just laughing and chuckling at everything, and get to some real emotions. There's certain things that you can say and do to maneuver as if it was a friend. It comes off very friendly. We are not friends, but it comes off very friendly. I'm glad that you took that. I feel like a lot of counselors are scared for humor. We just talked to our last counselor, Christine, and I asked her to do a joke, and she's like, "Yeah, I can't land that joke." And I was like, "Yeah, it's fine." I'm like, "Yeah, that's not your personality." Kristy could land that joke for sure, Spence.
I say some off the wall things, but I have found though, again, like if you know your people, they work.
Yep.
They work.
You do.
Yeah.
And she definitely knows her stuff because, right, Spence, I had mad respect for her, but she just doesn't have the personality to land it. And so she said she's scared to do jokes because she thinks people will think she's serious. I can't even like mention any right now. I remember I was in a presentation for international students, and the one girl goes, "You have dry humor, don't you, Dr. Zerka?" I was like, okay. Well, I said, it's not that it's dry or that it's just that it's a higher intelligence to like my jokes. So that's why you don't get them. that presentation did not go well.
What? I'm so surprised.
I mean, yesterday I called a kid an asshole in there. I said, "Oh, my bad. I called you by your first name." And that was a very good presentation. He goes, I said, "You know my dad?" Because he works at Sam's. So this kid knows my dad. It's not a client. This is a presentation with a bunch of students.
Oh.
And I said,
I thought just because it's called Sam's.
No. He knows Pops. He's seen him there. And I said,
Okay.
"What's he look like?" They said, "He'd be holding on to dear life to that buggy." I said, "Yeah, because he don't walk good." So we led into a whole conversation. If I know you in a presentation, I'm picking on you.
Fair enough.
One of my girls is so anxious that I just talked to, and not therapy-wise. And she just starts laughing and giggling and like being shy. I'm like, literally, I just said, "How's your summer?" She like gets all avoidant and stuff. So immediately I call on her first. And I said, "So why are you here today?" And she's like, to learn stuff to implement in my life. I was like, that was the worst answer I've ever heard. She's like, "Okay."
And here I go back into my shell.
Yeah, it's just like, I want to die. She's actually quite lovely. There also should be something mentioned, Kristy. I don't know about you. You don't have to speak on this if you want to protect yourself. Certain clients that you can joke with. So it's certain demeanor, certain maybe ADHD, but also specific folks of color. We have a different way of vibing and talking to each other. Specific folks of economic status as well. We have a different vibe. So I see a lot more of my students of color that will shit talk with me. And a lot of my students that come from more impoverished places like I did, they want to talk a little shit. My men as well. You can't go into a presentation with young men with fraternity boys and think you're going to do a presentation. They're just going to go to sleep and shut out. So you have to meet your clients where they're at. And I'm glad that you do that. I'm glad that you do that. The quiet ones are always interesting to me. Because like I'll get some whispers. I'll be like, "Girl, I can't hear shit you saying. What'd you just say? Are you saying it?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm saying it." Good.
We can work with that.
Oh my God. Sometimes I'll just be like, "Fuck, this is my good ear, the right one." So I have to like turn my ear. And then be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, you either gotta speak the fuck up or I'm gonna turn my ear."
What?
It's the quiet ones that are harder for me to get to because you have to be a little bit softer in your delivery and you can't be really fast with your questions because the quieter ones take a long, and by quiet I mean very soft spoken. Takes longer to internalize and maybe process some of the questions that you have, unless patience is needed by a therapist. Therapists that are listening to this, master levels, but also be very patient if you're dealing with someone a little bit more quiet, a little bit more shy. Anxiety takes them a second to get wound up. Yes. Spence. I wonder what you used to mirror back in the day, because I know you were weird as shit. And then we can get out of here.
Probably everything. Not gonna lie. Especially like TV shows. I love TV movies and stuff. And so if I could get a character that like I could either want to be or one that I really thought was funny, I would always try to like do that character. Like, for example, like Will Smith in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, he would always have like the best pickup lines. And I was like, no, I'll take one of those.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure
interesting times back in the high schools.
Well. Yep.
Nope. So
No.
so that, and then I would watch a ton of like Jim Carrey movies, like Liar Liar. Love that movie. That was a good one. The Mask. I love that movie. That was a great movie. Especially like now that I'm older, I kind of get like exactly what they were going for. I just like the funny voices and how he acted and stuff. Yep. But then you kind of get the duality of him just being like this normal guy, and then all of a sudden he puts on a mask and he's this wild, crazy, green-faced weirdo, but yet he still gets like the girl and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that. Love that stuff. But yeah, I still do that. If I see like I hear like a voice, or like sometimes I try to like mimic what they're doing on screen, and then I do it. So,
which is crazy, because nowadays we got to watch out, because people will call us out and say like you're being racist or something like that. But we're like, trying to take over a character. You got to be careful with who you mimic or who you appropriate these days too.
It's
and
true.
Be respectful.
It's very true.
As long as you're not being downtrodden. It's interesting. Mirroring can get you into trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Kristy, I got one last question for you, and then we can get out of here.
Yeah.
What things do you mirror and pick up from Pops?
Oh, humor too. Humor for sure. Yeah. My dad was very sarcastic, was always like, had lots of stupid jokes. And I, as an adult, I would say, especially probably from like 25 on, I would say things and immediately be like, oh my God, I'm my dad. And just like fully embracing that. And I even like have had so many conversations with my dad just about my work and career, and like telling him some of the things I would say to clients, and he would just crack up, because it's like we have the same type of humor. So that was definitely something that I mirrored from him in my regular life too, in therapy, but also just like who I am. Like my dad was weird as shit, and that's where I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna be my weird self, because this is who I am.
And anything from moms or no?
I don't think as much from my mom. We weren't very close. We didn't really have much of a relationship, and so there were a lot of things I think I tried to like specifically not be from. It's kind of a mirror, the opposite of mirroring, of like, I am not going to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Preaching to the choir. Me and Spence know that all too well.
Mm-hmm.
But where we take the things that we like, and then we discard the things that we don't like. But then every once in a while, some of the shit you don't like pops up, and you be like, damn.
Yeah.
I just stabbed this person.
Mm-hmm.
Why did I mirror?
Kristy goes,
Why?
Well, you just agreed with that.
I shouldn't have mirrored. My grandpappy used to just
shove
just like
have a way.
Just like this.
Yeah. He had to take one knife to get the other knife out, like on Talladega Nights.
I guess.
I'm glad that you've got so many things that pops in you. I'm with this. I don't think if it was for my job, that I would probably ever talk about family as much as I do, or moms as much as I do, or brother, because normally those conversations never come up for normies, aka not therapists. It's just always there. Those things just come up. I just talked about it in the presentation. Talked about it with some clients because they were going through grief, and then we talk about certain items that are in my office that remind me of my mom and brother that passed away. Not Salim, Benny. Obviously, Salim's here. He's at work right now. And so I think that's the thing. I'm not sure. I'm sure it'll be like that for you as well. Like, since you are a therapist, these things like Spencer made first in the very beginning, you'll probably be talked to in lessons about grief and how to work through it, and things that you've taken from Pops, maybe things that you'll do to be mindful about certain situations. I don't know. I feel like we're very blessed to be storytellers, because the loved ones never really die, because they're legitimately always with us throughout all our stories. I just was thinking about this like last night, so I think you'll find yourself in that same realm. Yes. It's interesting, because I'm like, I doubt my sister talks about my mom. Why would she be talking about my mom? But I don't know. Who else is talking? That's all me and Spencer do for the podcast and our jobs is talk. So, I mean, it's going to come up. I think you'll see that in the future, a couple years out, right? Mom's been gone for 5 years now. So it's interesting in how her life force still reverberates through me. Or when my father goes, "You're just like your mother." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll stab your ass too."
Wow. Second stabbing mention today. Look at that.
Mirroring.
So nice.
I'm just mirroring. That's all.
I'm just mirroring. It wasn't my fault, officer. I was mirroring.
Real quick. We was talking to a student, and she said, I said something. We were talking about thieving, stealing, because we were getting personal about some things. And I said, "Yeah, I stole that." And it was one of those little play toys from the purple mattresses. She's like, "Wow, you stole that?" She said, "Did you steal that too?" I'm like, "Come on, chill out now, motherfucker. I didn't steal everything." I said, "That's racist." Little white girl. She's, "I'm not racist." She's neurodivergent too. I teased her. Oh, there you go. There's a tease. I called her racist.
Wow, such a tease.
Such a good tease.
You're racist.
Just some gentle humor.
Just a little jab, you know.
Jab.
You don't like my people.
But it was a funny thing that came up because we were talking about some thieving, and I said, "Well, I just did what everyone else was doing around me. You're poor, you're Chicanos, right, Hispanic. There's a lot of people that were stealing and selling things, and so, right, I see it as fine and acceptable. Like this middle school, elementary stuff, whatever you see, you do. So I saw something, so I did. Now, obviously, I mean, I don't do that anymore. But for a while, I was, a whole lot of shit.
Oh, quick hands, nah.
Oh, quick hands. I might have been fat as hell, but I had some quick ass hands.
Didn't even see it.
Didn't even see it. Or you did see it, and I just knock you out, and then I take it.
Okay. Now you see it. Now you're knocked out. All right. Now you're in a coma.
Now you ain't got no Pokemon cards.
That shiny Pikachu is mine. Thank you. Thank you. All right. With all.
It was hard to therapize a lot of things today because it was just such a fun movie.
Yeah. Fun. It's like one of the saddest children's movies I've ever seen in my life.
That we did were fun.
It's fun. He's just an outcast that's slowly dying. It's fun. Fun. God, motherfucker, 82 and 12 at the same time. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
All right.
82 and 12.
All right. So with that, thank you, Kristy, for coming onto the show today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Hope to have you on again. I don't know. I get I know y'all have known each other, but at the same time, this dude.
She's like, he's not my people anymore.
This isn't right.
I don't think I do know him. I think I was wrong.
Yeah.
I wasn't on a show with him. What? Went to school with him? Barely even know.
We did not get the same degrees. That's what she's telling her clients. Like, he was in the special ed program in his master's.
They gave him a paper with crayon on it. Look at my certificate. All right. So, sorry. So thank you everybody for watching. Go check out all of our great collaborators. You can use our link tree to go check them out. You can get up to 20% off any of our great collaborators once you check out. Also, go check out our merch. We have some great stuff there, all in the link tree. And if you need any type of free resources or self-help, go check out some of our links in our link tree. We have a lot of great stuff in there. So please go check it out. With that, I'm Spencer, and that's Nas. This is a Different Spectrums podcast.
Much appreciation, much love, folks. And remember, take care of yourself.
Or don't.
That's up to you. See you, everyone.
Bye.